We are live on the program today. Leadership Lessons with Dr. Stanley Maphosa on a Saturday morning, on a relaxed, cool Saturday morning. I would like you to like the page. I would like you to share the page. I'd like you to inform others about the page. I would like you to follow the page and be able to help us spread this message about leadership lessons that we are having here. I think, Celiwe, we did not share the right page. We shared the Facebook page. It's supposed to be the YouTube page. I think old age is catching up with me. I will just share with you now the YouTube. If you have got your YouTube running, I will just send you the link now so that you can be able to share with people. I think people are waiting in the wrong page, and I'm sorry for that. It does happen. I had a distraction a little bit this morning, and our load shedding, but we're going to be there soon. Never mind, those that are not able to join us will follow later. But let's have it now, so that people can be able to join us as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's the YouTube page, not the thing.
We are live now.
Yes, let me share with you now. Let me share with you now quickly. Yes, let me share with you quickly now. That's the YouTube page. Let me also look at the one that we are in right now so that we are able to share it as well. StreamYard. Sorry for that. So those that are listening to us, please bear with us for a minute. For a minute as we just put this thing in the right perspective. Yes. StreamYard. Come on. Nonetheless, I have a guest here of very, very serious work, young lady, youth, who is going to be speaking to us today. Can you please introduce yourself, Celiwe Sibanda? Who are you? What are you busy with when you wake up in the morning? What makes you tick? What makes you unique? What makes you to be what you are? Just give us a background of who you are.
Thank you, Dr. Stanley. I'm Celiwe Sibanda and currently working as a legal secretary at BMW Inc. in Brisbane. Currently studying LLB, and mostly I spend my time doing music. I've got friends whom I do music with. Mostly it's gospel music, and yeah, I also do programs like visiting the sick, or mostly funerals and stuff, comforting people all around who need that comfort. Because as I sing, I think it's that ministry that is needed when people are feeling down, low, and all that. Yeah.
Wonderful. You used some abbreviations there that people may not be able to know. What is LLB? And what's the full name of your company that you work for? Yeah, because you know, when you work in one environment, you may think that everybody understands that environment.
Yes.
So we want you to just explain a little bit further what you mean by LLB and also the full name of the acronym of the company you work for.
Okay, so the company that I work for, it's Mark Marshall Well Beloved Incorporated, which specifically deals with property law. And yes, so we do conveyancing and most of evictions. So I don't want to say that in the midst of people, unless they scare me. They get scared of me.
Great work. Yes.
Yeah, so we deal with evictions most of the time when conveyancing. So LLB is a degree in law. So like to
Okay. So is this the first level of law, or is the second level of law?
I'm at the second level of law right now.
Wonderful. And you talked about conveyancing. Let's first of all understand you before we come to the topic. What is conveyancing? Is it about buying property or something?
Yes, it's all about buying and selling property. So in order for you to sell and to buy, you need a conveyancer.
Okay. So if people that are listening to us today are interested in buying property, you would advise them to come to your company.
Yes.
Wonderful. You also talked about music, that you are involved in music, and maybe tell us that space a little bit. Which group are you singing with, and what type of music are you singing? And do you have some of your songs that, if our listeners here would like to get hold of the songs, where do they go to?
Unfortunately, I do not have songs in my phone because I
Okay.
recently lost a phone that had music, but I'm working on getting more music at the phone. So I can't share right now, but
Okay.
it's just African gospel.
Okay.
Um, yes.
Wonderful. There you are, listeners. Celiwe Sibanda is working in a legal firm. Celiwe Sibanda is studying law, and she's into music, and you can talk to her to get the music and support the music that she's doing and the group that she's singing with, gospel music. Um, Today we are talking about the issue of young people and leadership. And in the space that you are already part of the leadership team, I think, in your church, in your music group, and maybe in other organizations, because I saw that you also work with an organization called Smart something.
Smart
Maybe
yes.
you can give us that background as well.
Okay, Smart Choices is a program that teaches you about HIV and AIDS, teenage pregnancy, and all other things that affect youth, like substance abuse. So we are trying by all means to engage with schools and churches and all other organizations with young people to teach people to choose smart. So we say smart choice, which means you have to choose smart in life, because life is irreversible. It's not something that when you miss a point, you can go back and try to fix. Okay, you can fix going further, but you can't fix going backward. So we encourage young people to choose smart. For instance, if you become a mother at 15, you can't reverse that. If
Yes.
if if you become a father at 12, you can't reverse that. You can improve being a better mother, but you can't change to say, okay, let me go back to my youth. So it's something that that is irreversible. So we urge youth to choose smart as they step into each and every step of life. So we're saying choose smart, avoid such things like teenage pregnancy, such things like substance abuse, and just be someone who will have smart choices in life and be a better person to improve the society.
Wonderful. I think you are the right person for us to be discussing with today, because when we also look at choosing a church, That's smart choice, because you can choose the wrong church, isn't it? Choosing a political party to vote for or a candidate to vote for, you must make a smart choice. Choosing a partner that you are going to marry or stay with, choosing a job where you are going to be working, is
Yes.
also critical. How you choose. You also talked about choosing the sexual debate, when you start sex, when at what age, and abuse, whether or not you abuse the drugs. So all those are choices. And what's in your opinion, what kind of youth would you say has chosen smart? What are the characteristics of a young person that has done a smart choice?
Yeah, what a question, Doctor.
Yeah, yeah. As an advocate of smart choices, what would you say? These are the characteristics. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Briefly, I would say choosing smart is a smart choice. It's a choice that you cannot regret about.
Okay.
So you rather grow in that choice and
Mhm.
maybe correct or amend, but you don't regret. So
Okay.
you make a choice that will make you comfortable for life.
Feel at peace inside you.
Feel at peace.
And
Yeah, something that
comfortable.
will
Yeah.
give you peace. Exactly. So
Mhm.
if you made a choice and you don't have that peace, you always uncomfortable. You always doubting. You always a choice that make you cry all the time. You always stressed. You always not happy. I think that's not a smart choice. But a choice
Wonderful.
that will make you wake up early in the morning, have that zeal to say, you know what, look at your watch, okay, it's daylight, let me wake up and nurture my choice. I think that is a smart choice because it gives you energy. The smart choice fuels you to wake up every morning and say, I'm going to work on my choice, and then I'm going to work on this dream until it comes true or until I achieve in it or until I share with other people my choice. The choice that will attract other people will make you to be a center of attraction to say, okay, I want to be like so and so. I think that choice, I can call it a smart choice.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Let's get to our topic of the day. I said we are talking about leadership, youth and leadership.
Yeah.
I suppose, as I've already indicated in my previous question, we are involved in leadership as a youth, and you are also a
Mhm.
Christian youth. We need to emphasize that. Do you think
Yeah.
young people are given enough space in the church to lead and to bring their voices into the critical decisions that the church is taking?
Sometimes I would say it is in the availability of those youth to be noticed and be given opportunities. So if youth is silent and inactive, um, it becomes difficult for elders to recognize them. So I wouldn't say they are not given, or I wouldn't say they are given the opportunities to express themselves, but it depends on how active they are. Are they alive? Are they noticeable to say, okay, we have youth in a church? Because you may try to give them the opportunity, yet they don't have the zeal or they don't see anything wrong to correct or they don't want to be heard, then it's waste of time because they will not even use that given opportunity to express themselves.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Maybe you can explain further for our listeners' sake to say what do you mean by being available and being noticeable? So what should be done by this young person who's listening to us here and saying, what does Celiwe mean? How should I behave so that I am, number one, available and noticeable, so that the leaders would see that I'm a youth and I need to be used as a leader in this particular congregation?
Okay, so being available or being noticeable is just feel yourself in any activity taken until people notice you. Because
Yes.
some youth have a tendency of say, okay, I'm young, or I don't want people to know me, or I'm smart, I'll rather stay at the back and just watch and expect everything to be done by other people. So be involved in every activity until someone says, okay, but I see a zeal there, I see a desire there. Because it is very difficult to identify someone's capabilities if someone is silent, if someone is just sitting down and doing nothing. So if youth will arise and partake in all activities without being forced to say, okay, brother Smangman, can you play keyboard for us? Okay, sister Smangman, can you just do deco for us? But just have a zeal, even if you don't know how to do it, but just stand up and say, I desire to learn. Just offer yourself in anything. Then in that way, someone will always notice you, and someone will always desire to mentor you, and someone will always desire to. In that way, you will find an opportunity to express yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think I hear you very well to say leadership is not necessarily titles and positions, and
No.
therefore young people should not say I want to be a pastor, I want to be an elder, I want to be a youth leader, I want to be a treasurer. But that lifting up of the chair in the
Exactly.
church and putting it in the right place is demonstrating servant leadership. You are serving, because Jesus says, I've come to serve, not to be served. Do you think I'm correct? I'm hearing you correct there.
My first job as a teacher, it is not that I was a qualified teacher, but I
Yes.
started teaching Sunday school. So I
In
was very
church.
young. I never understood what Sunday school is all about and what do I do with kids. I never had kids, and kids are so difficult to mentor, and because they want to play, they want to do everything that is contrary to the church proceedings. So, but I
They want to make noise.
wanted to exactly. So I started my teaching skills with those kids. So I started there. I taught them until their parents would say, "We see change in our kids." Then they started to do drama. They started to do music. They started to do. Then when I got an opportunity to teach, I was brilliant. So it starts there with small little things. Sunday school became my training institute. So it worked best more than college could have done, because if I'm given grade ones and grade twos, believe you me, I can produce a wonderful result. So when I am now a legal secretary, I started being a secretary in church. So it was those little things that kept training me. I learned how to take minutes in a little congregation. I learned how to report. I'm a very shy person, by the way. So I learned how to stand in front of people and report, and they will raise their hands and say, no, you didn't write well there. You have to amend that. So as we speak, I'm working in that field. So it is those little things that you just raise your hand and say, okay, I am available with or without knowledge. Then someone will pick you up and mentor you. And as the time goes, you will be resourceful in the community, and not only in the church, worldwide.
In the society worldwide. Look at what Reverend Mbongeni Ncube is saying there in the comments. I put the comments for you. He says it's
Yes.
key just to be available to such an extent that those who want someone to do something for or with
Yes,
them, they will think of you before anyone else. So thank you so much,
exactly,
Reverend
Reverend.
Celiwe. You are
Yes,
really encouraging us and participating in this discussion for Celiwe,
yes,
that we are talking to young people and using the case study of Celiwe, that you need to be available. And your point of saying Sunday school was your first college where you learned
yes,
how to teach children, and in the process you grew up to the place where you are right now. So for
yes.
young people, it's not about really waiting for the pastor to give you a job and
No.
say, do this, do that. Look at the gaps and say, what are the gaps that are available, and fill
Mm,
in.
mm,
Because
mm,
for me, I
mm.
think leadership is what is called the ability to change the status quo. When you see
Yes,
things are being done this way and you are a leader, you are saying, okay, how can I improve this? Do you think I'm
exactly.
correct? Yeah.
Yes. I'm reminded of the scripture by Paul where he says, our spreading or our preaching of the message is not by eloquence, but by demonstration of power. So leadership is not all about talking so many words and not demonstrating. You have to demonstrate,
Yes. This is
because most
beautiful. This
people
is
learn
beautiful.
by following, they don't learn by listening. So when you talk and demonstrate, you are saying, follow my example. That's what Paul says in one of the scriptures. He says, follow my example. So if you just talk, it's not easy for people to follow you to talk, but it's easy for people to say, you know what, Dr. Maphosa, where is this tie like this? Let me also do it because it looks beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes. You are bringing a very serious leadership concept there, which is called the leading by example. Other people will call it role modeling. And our society, Celiwe, has very few role models. And
Mm,
some of the
mm,
role models that our young people, including the church young people, are people that are
mm.
outside the church, are people that maybe drive big cars, live in big houses. And our young people don't ask a question, where did this
Mm,
person get the money from? And some of them are not
mm,
even served. Maybe they stole the money, or they robbed banks, or
mm.
they did some evil things in order to get
Yeah,
money. How can
yeah.
the church produce good role models for our young people?
How can the church produce good role models? So we need
Yes,
people
role
who,
models like yourself, role models like yourself and others.
thank
How
you,
can the
Robert.
church produce them and
Take that
bring
as a
them forward?
compliment.
Yes, the fact that you are in this program, it means somebody has chosen you to come here. This program, you
Okay,
don't just come, you get to be chosen by people.
I want to see that person who put me in such. Okay, so production of role model. It's all about. I think it's all about people who are older than others having to demonstrate the right path. I'll put my mother as an example. She
Yep.
she she was not a woman of many words. She will tell you, you know what, going with boys will if you're not careful with boys, these are the consequences that you'll find. If you're careful with boys, this is what you'll get. Or he will say, if you wake up in the morning and do your duties early in the morning, this is what you'll get. Then
Mm.
she will say that once, just once, so that you hear, because they say faith comes by hearing. And
Yep.
then she will wake up at five in the morning, start to doing his duties and all that. So you'll find that at the end of the day, she has done a whole lot of things and finished everything that she targeted to do. So I used to learn by observing, to say, okay, this woman is not too talkative, but and remember, if
Acts.
you are one, yeah, she acts. If you're one person who always talks, you end up annoying people, and people end up not listening to you. But if you stand up and produce good results, then someone observing will look at you and say, okay, I see how this person uses his time or her time, and I can see the achievement. And it's easy for people to follow you when you are doing. So how to produce good role models? I would say if those who have walked the way, who are older than others, can change their ways from talking to demonstration, so that
Yes.
those that are following can always follow the right path. Because if you teach me by talking, then what I will implement is to talk, and the next generation will also talk, and the next generation will keep on talking. At the end of the day, we will not change anything. It will be just a generational
Of talkers.
thing of talkers, yes, bunch of talkers, and not
Lord have
producers.
mercy.
We need
Lord have
those
mercy.
who have walked in front of us to demonstrate, um, uh, 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 to act, and not to just to talk. It's good to talk because that's how we find info, but we need demonstration more than talking.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Those are wonderful points, because you are also bringing some good principles of leadership there that is around what we call coaching and mentoring.
Yes,
Mentoring is sometimes observing what other
yes,
persons is doing. It's different from coaching, because coaching, you sit down and somebody really talks to you.
mm,
But a mentor may not necessarily know that they are mentoring someone by observation and looking and following them. These days, we also have what we call digital footprints, and people can follow their mentors there
yes,
and and learn certain things. And obviously, we produce role models by making those that are current role models to continue to be role models and to continue
yes,
to demonstrate good behavior and
yes.
good leadership. Do you think we need, as a church, maybe to be starting awards where we award people and say best usher of the year, praise and worship leader of the year, um, cleaner of the year, a sweeper of the year? And would you think that would encourage young people to participate and also to be recognized? Because I feel the world is doing that. I'm not saying we should copy from the world, but I'm saying some things that are done and they are not really bad in themselves can be learned from anyway. And if we bring these awards, even if they don't have money, but maybe certificates or some kind of recognition of the work that young people do in leadership in the church, would that help?
Okay. That is too. I think I'll I'll answer that in two ways, Doc.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
That's good.
so, um, bringing awards, it can be a very good thing in the sense that it's motivational.
Yeah.
It makes the next person to work very hard to say, I also want to grasp that award as so and so had. However, the challenge, especially in the church industry, in the church environment,
Ministry.
is that,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, in the church ministry. Okay, I failed to get the proper word to fit there. Okay, so,
Yeah, maybe it's an
so to
industry. It's an industry of souls. It's okay.
no, it's a ministry. I'll use your word. Okay, church is it's a very serious institute.
Yes.
So you have to have the right motives in order for you to do
Yes.
something,
Yes.
right? So you cannot usher well because you want a certificate,
A
you want
prize, a
an award,
certificate.
you want a prize, because that means outside the prize, then you are not going to do well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
to me, doing well must come within, because they say the fullness of heart leads to utterances. So what is full in your heart is what you exercise outside. So you do not have to work hard because Dr. Maphosa has promised that there will be an award that be given to the best usher or to the best musician, because at the end of the day, we will end up acting than doing the right thing. I don't know if
Brilliant,
I'm
brilliant
answering
answer,
properly.
brilliant answer. No, there's no right or wrong answer. We are
Yes,
discussing, and
yes.
you feel
So
free to say your suggestions, and I agree with you
yes,
100% because some
there
of the
are people
questions I
with
ask, yeah, some of the questions I ask are the conversations that we see and the observations that we see in churches. There are churches that
mm,
do awards, and there are some that don't, and you are bringing a good balance to say. We should not create a competition spirit, and we should not also create
exactly.
I want to
Yes.
do this because.
Because, yeah, yeah. You see, so one of these good years, if you do not do that award, then someone will sit down, even if you know that, Sister Celiwe, please decorate for us. No, I can't because I didn't get an award. But I got it last year for being the best. So now I'm doing with a different motive altogether, which means outside the award, I'm the best. But with the
Yes.
award, I'm the best. So that automatically cripples the church ministry. It cripples the church ministry because we have people who sing very well.
Mhm.
Now, because it's competition, they will be very active. But
Yes.
I listened to Advocate Molloy saying he doesn't want people who sing with their voices shaky. Or he wants singing.
He wants the voice as it is, original.
And it
He
is,
doesn't want the vibration and the
no,
staccato.
it doesn't want vibration and other things.
Lord have mercy. Yes. No.
So
I
you do
really
an
agree with
award,
you.
and the judges, one of the judges loves vibrating voice. One of the judges loves straight voice. And then the award is being won by the one who vibrates the voice. Then everyone in church starts doing that. So people like Advocate Muloy, you have taken them out of church automatically. So I think So I
Oh
think
Lord
it's
have
all
mercy.
about, it's good because it's motivational, but we also need to check the motive behind. Why are you doing so? Are you doing so to please people? Are you doing so to acquire a present or a certificate or whatsoever? Or you're doing it because you have to do it? Because excellency is not all about achieving. You have to be excellent with an award or without an award. You get to be excellent.
Okay. Let's look at the comment here from Reverend Ncube again. Thank you so much, Reverend, for your support. He talks about role modeling and he says it must be hinged on the scripture. Let your life
Yes.
so shine before men. That's
Yes.
let your life so shine before men is part of role modeling, that
Yeah.
they may see the good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. You must live it. Any comments on that?
I believe that a good role model is a role model that is excellent in outside people's view.
Yes.
Someone who is excellent in a secret place until that secret place prevails in public. Someone who will be excellent, seen or not seen by people.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I believe that's a good role model because that person, even if he or she finds challenges along those lines, he can still stand. But if you give me a gift to be excellent, then I find a challenge, I quit because it's not what is in me, but it's you trying to motivate me, which is not bad to motivate, but I prefer things that come within.
Wonderful. You are bringing a good principle again there. I pick principles each time you talk, and that principle you are bringing is called integrity.
Yes,
Integrity is in definition integrating who you are in private and who you are in
yes,
public. So integrity
yes,
comes from the word integrate. So you are the
yes,
same person, whether you are at work, you are the same person as you are at school or at church. Some people change and they have
yes,
split personalities. They have got schizophrenic.
Leaders in the presence of people, but outside
One
people,
time
they are
you are
horrible.
doing this, the second time you are doing this. Maybe before you answer, Amanda is saying to you here, Amanda Duma says, let's show you what Amanda Duma is saying. She says, Celiwe, you are full of the word. And yes, God wants us to serve him with a pure heart. So come, put together what Amanda is saying and the integrity, which I talked about, because integrity is a critical leadership principle and characteristic. Whether you are a youth leader or you are an adult leader, political leader, NGO leader, leader in the home, integrity is very serious. Can you talk about it?
Yes, doctor, because there are pastors who are very good in pulpits. They can pastor other people's kids well into heaven and into bigger things, but they fail to lead their own families, which is not good enough, because I believe leadership starts at home and flourishing outside to other people. So integrity is very important, because you cannot be good in the presence of other people and fail to groom your own, because that is your legacy. That is what you leave behind. So we have more leaders who speak good in the presence of people, promise good things. They maybe do them, but outside people, they are horrible. So it is very difficult to follow such a person, because I know a scripture that says it is impossible for one well which it produces
Produce
good
two
water.
waters.
Yes, yes.
One well, two
You,
different waters.
exactly. So such a person, you don't know, can I copy the bitter water or the sweet one? So then you find that people that are following, they're in the middle. And as youth, we want things that are fast. So if I see that your good side brings fast results, then I choose the wrong and fast one. But at the end of the day, you have built me in a wrong way.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. You are reminding me also of another man that was a lecturer at a university, and he was a pastor.
yes,
And used to sing in a certain church, praise and worship. And this lecturer man used to lecture students, youth, and use insults. He was lecturing a vernacular subject, and he would use insults in his lectures, use a lot of insults in his lectures. And the youth
yeah,
leaders of the Christian Union there, when we visited that college, approached us and said, no, you must tell this lecturer to stop what he's doing. And we said, what is he doing? I think Reverend Bongen was there. He knows the story. And
yeah,
we said to them, what is this lecturer doing? They said, no, this guy, when he lectures here, he uses insults, and sinners are
okay.
laughing and say vulgar words. And he says, sinners are laughing and said, your pastor, when he lectures us, he uses insults, but come Sunday, he's at church leading praise and worship and what preaching. And then we called that lecturer, and we sat
Yeah,
down with him together with the youth leaders that had put the complaints. And you know what he said? He said, I
yeah,
have three spirits. Me, I have three spirits. Bafana Bam, I have three spirits. When I am
yeah,
in the lecture room lecturing, the lecturing
yeah,
spirit comes to my life and I lecture. I use insults. And I lecture using that spirit of a lecturer, and my students pass. When I get home,
yeah,
I have another spirit. When I get home, I have another spirit. When I sit with my wife and children, another spirit of a father comes to me to be a father, and I have a father spirit in my house. And when I get to church, another third spirit comes to
oh,
me,
good.
which is the church spirit. And I start to sing praise and worship, and I prophesy, I preach. So I have three spirits. Do you think he was correct?
No, not at all. I'm not so sure what you meant by this. nothing like being in the middle of the space. If you're bad, you're bad. If you're good, you're good. There's nothing like I'm almost good, I'm almost bad. Or that's funny. Because at the end of the day, you need people to accept your leadership. You need people to accept who you are. You need people to change to a better. But if you're such a confusion with these three spirits, then it becomes difficult for people to follow which spirit are they supposed to follow. It becomes one of the most challenging things. But yeah, I think people are different.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that because at work you would find somebody at work as a youth leader in church. One, they
Yeah.
come late emsebenzini Celiwe, they come late. Number two, they steal isikhathi semsebenzini doing their own work, their own assignments emsebenzini. Some even
Yeah.
steal material things. They steal sugar yasemsebenzini, ama-tissue yasemsebenzini. They say
Yeah.
no, it's not wrong because I'm stealing from white people, I'm stealing from rich people, those that
Mm.
those that work in the houses, what you call them, helpers, maids, some call them nannies. They're still there, but they are in our church leadership group. And you ask them, no, I stole because those people are rich. I stole because those people are paying me malengan. They are paying me small money, so I paid myself by stealing this.
Mm.
Do you think it's okay?
I think Dr. Stealing is stealing regardless of whom you're stealing from. So if you steal, you steal. I'll use myself as an example. I used to work with this white guy, David Cartwright. Unfortunately, he's late. He used to make less money, but that man had a good heart. So he will pay me less, but not necessarily less. It was according to the account, according to how his business was growing. So he used to send me all over with money. And because we were doing labor law, he will win cases, people's cases, and maybe you find out there's back pay. The company has paid people millions, and you will just say, "Tell you, take these millions to people." Then I will just go there, distribute accordingly. So one day he looked at me and said, "I've never found an innocent person like you, and I've
Amen.
always seen you Googling, because sometimes when I wasn't busy, I'll just Google past exam question papers and just be reading and just refreshing my mind." He said to me, I've seen you Googling. Do you love learning? I said, yes, I do love learning. Then he said to me, you know what, go and do your driver's license. I'll pay all the expenses. I did it. He paid. He
Wow.
said, go and register with UNISA. I'll pay all the fees. Unfortunately, he got sick and passed on. So I started my
Wow.
LL degree by maintaining integrity in the midst of a white person, of which sometimes Black people believe white people are rich and they are worthy to be stolen from. Integrity is integrity in the midst of rich or in the midst of poor. So he's one person who encouraged me. Before I did the LLB degree, I went to Damelin College to study legal secretary, which costed something like uh, 35,000 rand. He paid that money because he said, you have never stolen from me. So
Wow.
integrity pays. Integrity
Wow.
pays because all I have now, though he's late, I've got my diploma, I've got my driver's license, and I'm in the second year studying my LLB. So it's not wise to steal because that little tissue can cost you fortunes. Somebody can just put a tissue to test you, and you can block your blessings by just a 20 rand tissue paper.
Wow, wow, wow. You are really a great youth leader that we have today. And ask those that are listening to us, please tag others, share this broadcast. It is very, very powerful for our young people to be listening to. Listen to this again comment from Reverend now. He says, it goes back to that topic, my awards. And he says, can we not consider non-monetary physical awards like thank you are doing a great job, and stuff like that, in order for us to encourage? Because my initial question was around encouraging youth to take leadership roles, never mind how small those roles are. So, Reverend Lapa Uti, maybe instead of giving prizes and certificates, would we consider non-money? Do you think it can work?
Believe you me, Dr. Stanley, thank you is a powerful word that we have always taken for granted.
Yep.
I, for one, I value the word thank you. If I can just do something and you say thank you, then I know I've nailed it. Yep. Even if I don't have a tangible prize, because that is one word that we have always taken for granted. I think that is the reason why when we get to church, we start by worshiping God. We don't give God anything, but we just say thank you, God, and we believe that is enough for him to accept our sacrifice of our lives. So it is very important when you notice that I'm doing well, you can just shake my hand and say, well done. And maybe if you notice that I have a desire, but I'm lacking somewhere, you can hold my hand and say, you're doing great, but improve this, improve that. Like this man that I'm talking about, David Cartwright, he'll drive into a park and stop there and say, you know what, Celiwe, you are very good, you are very intelligent, but you lack self-confidence. So I urge you to do 1, 2, 3. Then you are going to be great. He will take me to his friends were all employers. Then when he gets there, you will say, Celiwe drives. And by then, I never knew how to drive until I got motivated to get into a car and drive. So those are other kinds of motivation that we can use to say, okay, you know what? I can see potential in you. Why can't you try this? Why can't you do this? Because if you mean now, give me a car, I can drive. So
Wonderful,
that was
wonderful.
Yes.
This is amazing, and we're getting some wonderful feedback here. Look at this feedback around the integrity story that you shared. This is encouraging. Let's come back a little bit to youth leadership in church. I've heard some youth leaders saying now they do not want to have adults coming in and forming part of their committee. In some churches, you'd find that there is a youth committee, but then there's this person who's called the youth advisor, who is not necessarily a youth, an adult advisor, sort of adult advisor, who maybe sits in all the committee meetings or gets to be engaged by the youth committee on how to do youth. Do you think you need that person or you don't? If you need them, explain why you need them. If you don't want them, tell me why you don't want them.
Okay. So when someone becomes an adult, it means he or she has walked the path of being youth. He has learned. So I think it's a scripture, or if it's not a saying, I can't remember well, that says there is wisdom in gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in learning from someone who has walked the walk, because you're not telling me hearsay, you're not telling me what you think, or you are not giving me the theory that you have not practically put to place and proved that it works. So I think having an adult, it's very good, because those people have walked the way. They know the challenges of being a youth. They have made mistakes that they desire a youth to correct, that please don't walk like me. But unfortunately, some of us, for instance, when a mother said to a girl child, never get pregnant at 15, then the girl child will respond and say, but you got me at 15. So they use bad example to prove their own lives, which is not, according to me, it's not smart choice. Because if you are a smart chooser, you have to eliminate the bad examples. So
Wonderful.
the elders, they know what were the consequences of getting pregnant at 15. They know very well, and they don't desire a second person to pass through. So they are there to equip the youth. They are there to eliminate those problems that they themselves encounter. But as me as I am, for example, I've never had kids. I do not know what it takes to have a child. I do not know what to do when a child is sick at night. I do not know what it takes when a child doesn't eat. So I need that elder by my side to say, you know what, daughter, when you get a child, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to expect, and this is how you have to behave. Because at the end of the day, you'll find people dropping kids and leaving because they don't know how to nurture them. They did not learn from those that have walked the walk. So
Wonderful.
it is wise. The way I see it's very wise to have an elderly person in the youth committee as a guider.
Wonderful. As a guider or advisor or director or mentor. Or coach for the youth, and maybe somebody who's also not very old, somebody who's in youth and dala, who's youth and dala, or even if they are old but they are young inside, and they know how to connect well with the young people, and the youth will not be afraid to approach them, and they will not superimpose their ideas upon the youth. I think that's where the fight comes in, that you are an advisor, but you are now telling them what to do, and you are superimposing your adult ideas on the young people.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of understanding each other as to why do you want to do this, and then you understand, because I think sometimes the way we relate things or we bring things might not be proper in a way that we find it as imposing your own idea. But if there are good communication skills to say, you know what, youth, I do not want you to, I do not want boys to wear earrings because it doesn't differentiate you from the world. Then if you are a reasonable person, you must sit down and try to understand, why is an elder bringing this? Why is he eliminating our own visions? Because I think it's a matter of communication. Yes, I think it's an issue of having good communication skills. You, as an elder, you are there to advise and to guide. You listen to the youth. You sit down and digest. And
wonderful.
You, as the youth, you also listen to that elder. You sit down and digest. At the end of the day, you have one solid thing that you agree upon that is helpful to everyone.
That concept we are discussing right now is called generational mix. Generational mix. In other words, we need to be mixing the old and the young in any leadership structure. Do you believe also in the church committee impela eyiyo ephethe ibandla? Kufanele kube ne-youth lapho.
Yes, because
the biggest committee lapha, where decisions of the church are made. Do you think youth ifanele ihlale lapho, or we must just throw them to the youth committee, or we must have somebody there in the big committee as a youth, sitting there, listening to the decisions, answering? What do you think?
Okay, I think I'm losing you a little, Doc. There was a little breakdown, but I'll answer as I think you did say. First of all, I would say, if the youth does not want an elder to be part of their ideas, remember they're also growing to be elders. They must expect to be eliminated when they grow, because if you expect your kids in the future to listen to you, start by practicing it now. So I think we need to have elders in the youth committee. Going
what
to
about
your question,
vice versa? Yeah, come to my question now.
Yeah, yes. So I also think we need to have a youth representative in the biggest committee. Why am I saying so, Doc? Times are changing.
Yep.
Times are changing. You lived in the days of writing a letter.
I wrote so
You
many
were
letters
writing
to my
letters.
wife. She can tell you.
Yes, dear Mrs. dear Mrs. Maphosa. But days we just video call and so we need that representative who will bring the youth into the uh, elders to say, we are living in such times. You lived
Yep.
in people adopt. It's very difficult for an elder to change the ways that you adopted as you walked along and up to the age that you are. So you will think these kids are this, are this. You won't understand them at all the way they do, but they're living in the world that is very fast, that is technology. So there's an environmental difference, I would say, if that's a
Yep.
proper way of putting it. So we need,
Generational, environmental, time difference, all those
yes,
differences,
yes,
technological difference.
yes, yes. So we need someone who understands the lower level to represent the lower level together with the higher level, so that at the end of the day it becomes one. There won't be that
Wonderful.
gap. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We have explained it very well. And I like the way we are explaining these concepts so that we don't make them difficult for people. It's called generational mix. And therefore, if adults are putting an adult advisor in the youth committee and they
Mm.
agree that is correct and the youth agrees that is correct, the same must be
Mm-hmm.
correct. That a
Yes.
young person must represent the youth in the big committee so as to bring in that mix of the generations. Because my major problem that I've seen even at work, generations fight. Abantu abatsha
Yeah.
emsebenzini bafuna ukusixotsha Celiwe bathi nasenintshebe ezimhlophe phumani senibadala ni-above 50 phumani hambani namhlanje. And also the adults are also frustrating the youth. They don't want to teach them, they don't want to orient them, they don't want to bring them as interns. They say anazi lutho nibuya nama-degree nivele university anazi lutho. So there is a war of generations, and therefore we need to mix this generation so that the older ones also learn from the young and the young ones also learn from the old. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Because yes, we need to be that kind of people who are flexible to adopt either or. Because at the end of the day, we need that wisdom from the elders. And at the end of the day, the elders also need the energetic youth, because there are some things that the elders cannot do without the energy of the young. So at the end of the day, there must be a way of interacting peacefully and accepting one another, irregardless of the differences.
Wonderful. Our time is gone, and I want to ask you a question which I know you don't like. You told me at the backstage that you don't like politics, but I do like politics. We are going to vote in South Africa now. Do you
Yes.
think the youth in church are participating in going to register to vote, understanding who to vote for and things like that? And can we bring in political education into church? Two questions there.
I think it's an important subject because we live in the world whereby we need to choose who is leading us. So it's a very important subject. It needs to be taught in the youth, in the church. But I also think, okay, this is my own feeling, but
That's okay.
I think youth is we I think we mostly disappointed because in most elections that will be done, a leader is being appointed, and at the end of the day, that leader doesn't deliver or delivers to a certain group of people and not to a certain group of people, then you get disappointed to say, okay, what's the point of voting? Why should I waste my time in going and vote? Because at the end of the day, this is what is going to come. So there is a demotivation of some sort in the political grounds. But hence, I still feel it is important for youth to understand subjects, because at the end of the day, we need to be led by people who understand that they are leading the people of God, and they have to treat them the way they should be treated. And I desire leaders who will eliminate this whole corruption and have that kind of integrity, as we spoke about integrity, because the current leadership, I would say, or maybe it's not leadership, or let me say the current environment favors some and do not favor some. For instance, those with money will always get things or done, but those who are poor will always remain poor, because in order for you to go and get a birth certificate, you have to bribe a registrar or someone. Then how about that who doesn't have money to buy? So we need youth to be taught along those lines, so that at the end of the day, we vote for people who will understand that life is not all about them and their families and riches or whatsoever, but it involves each and every individual that is there under the sun.
Wonderful, wonderful. One last question. Give me an extra time because we had some bit of glitches here and there. Just 5 minutes or so with this last question. Do you think women, especially young women of your age going down, are safe in South Africa? Whether it's in the employment space, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the street, whether it's in the taxi, are they safe? And what should be done if they are not safe?
What a question.
Safe from anyone, including themselves and men and everyone.
I wonder if men are safe too.
This is good. This, I like it. Go for it.
I don't want to be biased here because I'm a woman.
Go for it.
Okay,
I love it. I love it. I love it with all my heart. Yes.
With the kind of reports that we're getting, Doctor, I would say safety is a concern. Yep. Because I, for one, believe that church must be a hope of people. So if the world hits me hard, I must run to a church and find comfort and find relief and find deliverance. But when we still have reports like pastors having to be jailed because they tampered with women, then it's an area of concern, because it means there is no hope. It will mean there is no hope, because we know clearly that the world itself is not opening hands for women. We hear so many reports that men kill men, women, whether in love scenario, whether in, let's say a man robs a woman, it's easy for that man to hit, because we of soft characters, we don't have the energy that men have. So normally a woman will fall down. So it's an area of a concern. I wouldn't say we're really safe, but we still pray to say, God have mercy in terms of the of women, because if churches are letting women down, it is really
pathetic.
An area of it. Yes, it's heartbreaking because Because most of the times, if husbands are not good at home, we run to mother pastor and father pastor to get help, to get counsel. But if I run to you as a pastor and you rape me, then it means there is no hope. I think that on its own will cause women to be bitter and to retaliate. So at the end of the day, we will find more men being killed by women, because women are now trying to stand on their own and say, okay, if the police can't fight for us, if the government can't fight for us, if the churches can't fight for us, of which we believe that pastors are being cancelled by God Himself, but they're failing us, then let's stand on our own and try to defend ourselves. So at the end of the day, it becomes a war against each other, which is not good at all.
Beautiful answer there, beautiful response there, balanced and very, very, very well thought out. Our time is always jealousy when we speak to people like you who really know what they are talking about. And I want us to close it here for now by asking you one last question to say, if people are looking for you in churches and would like to invite you to come and speak to their young people or to their leadership team, are you available on social media so that they can be able to follow you and get to connect you? And maybe also your choir, you told us that you are singing and you have got a singing group, and they want your singing group to come and sing in their weddings, in their birthdays, in their conferences, in their graduations. Are you available for that?
Yes, so I think I still have challenge.
That's challenging, eh?
I still have challenge with social network. I'm very bad with social
Yes.
network, but I'll improve my knowledge in that. I know I have a
Yes.
Twitter account that I have never updated.
You
And
don't go
okay, so my
there. Is it for religious reasons or for personal reasons? Because there are some Christians that think social media is from the devil, from
it's
Satan.
satanic.
Let's leave it there for now. Any of your closing remarks before we go? Any of your parting shots, your last words, powerful last words before we close?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Maphosa, for the opportunity. So if people want to get me, they can always email me at Celiwe Sibanda 9.
Let's write it down for them. Celiwe Sibanda 9, yes,
9 at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. We write it down so that the people don't miss it. Yes. You can proceed with your
Yeah.
last word.
And my cell phone number is 074 409 3425.
Yes, I would like to warn them that they should not abuse this email and also
Exactly.
this phone number. If they get
Yes.
to abuse it, you just block in Jesus' name.
Uh,
Say, I'm blocking
point,
you now in Jesus' name.
point taken.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you so much for the time, for the opportunity given, and thank you for those who just appointed me Nicodemusly, I'd say, because I never knew.
This is how we do
So,
it. Yeah.
yes. So, but my last words is we need to live. I think I was reading something that said some people are dead while alive, yet some are alive. yet dead. Yeah, I think I quoted that right. Some people
Thank
are
you.
dead, yet alive. Yet
Mhm.
some are alive but dead. Okay, they've died, we've buried them, but we still talk about them. Everywhere we go, we still remember Dr. Maphosa is there is Dr. Maphosa in the world.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Okay. So
And from today
I'll
onwards, everyone will remember that there's Celiwe Sibanda out there.
yeah, even if I die, I'll have to
Yeah.
leave. Even in my absence, I have to leave. So we have to be those kind of leaders who lead to live in our absence. Even if you die, we always know there was Mandela. We always know there is
Yes.
Mandela. There is 7 minutes of Mandela. But there are some
Yes.
people who just lived to die and they left no legacy, no name or anything. So we have to demonstrate a way that some people can follow. Generations to come will learn and say, okay, Celiwe was such a person, then it was a good way to follow. We need to leave footprints as we live. I think each and every one of us, God designed us to have a purpose, and we ought to live to the fulfillment of that purpose. And as we demonstrate those purposes, it is said that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. So we need to lead fearfully, knowing that we are going to be accountable of each and every step that we leave. We are going to be accountable. I was listening to one song this morning that said, it's sang by Nandwin Christ Ambassadors. He was saying that um, you will go to heaven and tell God that, God, I failed to worship you because my mother died or my child died. Then God will open a cabinet and say, Job, come here. And
Mm.
Job will start
Oh.
by saying, God, me, I lost all the livestock. I lost all
Oh.
kids. I lost, and I ended up being sick, but I still held on to your name. So we will still give account to each and everything that we do. We need to know that we are not doing anything for people, we are doing it for ourselves. Even if people give you credit, never be proud, but remain humble and walk the walk, because most people, they do well, but when people are praised, then they get to be proud, and then that pride takes them down. So we need to maintain that element of integrity all the time, remembering that we will give an account of each and every step that we do. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. I can't say anything more than that. Amanda has helped me to say wow. And we want to take this opportunity to thank you for really coming through this program. I am amazed, and I want to tell the listeners that you left your house and you came to the office so that you really attend to this particular program. So it means you really honored this invitation and you took it seriously, because we also take you seriously. May God bless you as you enjoy your weekend to the end, and the days that are coming. Thank you to all that were listening to us. I saw Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. I saw Reverend Ncube. Thank you so much. Others did not have their names written, and I know others will join later and watch this broadcast. Please share, please comment, please like the broadcast. God bless you.
And one more last before you go, talk, Doc. Please, I'm a
Yes.
transcriber. All attorneys who have worked to be transcribed, please contact me. I can do a great job for you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Let's repeat that. Let's repeat that one. Let's repeat that one, because it's quite critical. All attorneys that are listening to the program today and you want transcribing services, you want your work to be transcribed, please
Yes.
contact us, contact me, contact Celiwe, and be able to support you. If they are Christian attorneys, Christian lawyers that need this service, please don't go out there and employ non-believers and employ sinners when we have such children in the house of God that can do what you are supposed to do. You can't take money from the kingdom and give it to the wrong kingdom, to drunkards who are going to say they've been given this money by their ancestors. When you can give it to Celiwe, when you can give it to a child of God, please, I encourage you to do that. What is transcribing? Briefly.
So when you are in court, there are proceedings that will be recorded. So transcribing is simply putting those audios to hard copies.
Putting the audios of court to hard copies so that you can be able to have some documentation. Lawyer friend, lawyer believer, attorney believer, please do it. This is for the ministry. This is for the service of God, and Celiwe is available for that. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are done.